We've all seen what's going on with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet on the internet. It has set everyone ablaze with some of the issues, the bugs, the glitches, the game, the this, the that, people who like it, who don't like it, who say it's because of the hardware, people who say it's not. There are opinions all over the place. So I was very excited to get the game myself. Nintendo sent over a review copy recently for Pokemon Violet, and I was able to put a number of hours into the game, and boy do I have some thoughts from the graphics, the music, the presentation, the Pokemon, the gameplay. There's a lot to go over here, so I'll try not to bore you too much with this, but I think that it's going to be pretty entertaining to see what I got to say about this game, at least my first impressions, because I am early into the game. There's a lot more to play, there's a lot more to do, and there's a lot to say on this. Please make sure before we get into anything, hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell to get my videos first. Now let's go ahead and first start off with Pokemon Scarlet and what this game is. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, I should say. This is the next generation of the Pokemon game. You're going to have all new Pokemon, all new gameplay, all new story, all new campaigns, all new multiplayer. It's got a lot of new features in there, and that's very much appreciated. I think that that's pretty cool that they were able to have the turnaround from Pokemon Sword and Shield to this game, but I think that also creates a number of problems as well, which we will get into. Now let's first start off with the first thing that you see when you check out this game, and that's the graphics. This has been much maligned out there, and honestly, the graphics in this game need some work. They are definitely not good. It's looking very GameCube-ish, very high quality GameCube-ish type of game. It does not look like any of the modern open world games on the Nintendo Switch already, or heck, even on the Wii U with Xenoblade Chronicles X or Xenoblade Chronicles 2 on the Nintendo Switch, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which is on the Wii U, and also the Nintendo Switch, Nier Automata, the End of Yura edition. There are a number of open world games that definitely push the system far more, look better, and everything. So that is something that the Pokemon Company and also Game Freak definitely need to work on and build upon with this version of the game, which we'll talk about later with the gameplay and what I think they're going to do in the future, because there is a base here, but the graphics here just aren't good enough for what we're talking about here in 2022. Like, they are okay. It's not like they're the worst graphics ever or anything, but they're absolutely not good for what the Nintendo Switch is capable of, which makes the next thing that we're going to talk about even more baffling, and that's the performance in this game. There are hitches, there are visual oddities, there are some glitches, there are problems kind of littered throughout. Now, none of it is game breaking for me, at least, and I'll admit that I haven't really explored too far into Paldea region. There are a bunch of different places that I still haven't went yet. There's the campaign that I still got to do. There's a bunch of different things, but there was just some like hard hitches and some frame rate issues here and there. But the game overall, while I was playing it, it was stable. Like, it wasn't like it was lagging all the way to like 10 frames per second. Most of the time, it felt pretty stable when I was running around. I mean, like I said, there was some hitches here and there, but you'll definitely notice it, especially when there's a lot of stuff going on screen, or if you're in certain areas with certain angles, you'll notice it. So it's not a perfect running game by any means, and I wish that it was, considering how the graphics look. I mean, this would be a 720p 30 frames per second and lock it down. I think people would be very happy with that type of performance. Now, the game is a bit ambitious when it comes down to the presentation and when it comes down to what they're trying to do with the graphics and what they're trying to do with the performance. Like, I get that. It's a true open world Pokemon game. It's the first real open world Pokemon game Game Freak has ever made. So it's not like they've been making open world games before. Pokemon Legends Arceus is not an open world game. It's an open-ended game. There's open areas, but you go back, it loads, there's segmented areas. This is their first open world game where Pokemon freely move about. When you start a Pokemon battle, you will go into the Pokemon battle, and then if there's another Pokemon next to it, they will still be there. Like, they'll run away, they'll still be there. The Pokemon will still be visible. When you're battling one Pokemon, they don't disappear. You'll still see them and everything. So it's not like it's one of those like fake, it goes into some type of segmented battle arena when you're there. It's a full open world game, and that is commendable for the Pokemon Company and for Game Freak trying something so ambitious for the first time. But it takes hits. Like, it takes hits when it comes to the graphics and also when it comes to the performance. Now, on the bright side, when it comes to the graphics, the Pokemon and how they're animated and how they look when it comes to the textures and look of them, it's actually pretty good. good. Like, it's not necessarily bad. Like, the Pokemon look pretty good in the game. The character models aren't bad either with the main characters. I mean, there's some character models when you're in the open world doesn't necessarily look too good, and the performance on them, like, it's looking kind of jank, like the frame rate is down, so that's not necessarily good. But when you see all the main characters and everything, and the gym leaders and the different people that you explore with and the other trainers, those aren't bad, and the Pokemon models are good as well. It looks like they've updated them quite a bit from what we saw with Pokemon Sword and Shield or Pokemon Legends with some of the Pokemon, so it's actually not bad in that respect. Not perfect, but not bad either, so I can give it some props for that. There's some nice texture detail with your character with certain clothes that you wear and everything. Customization is pretty cool with the presentation, so that's awesome as well. Like, there are some good things with that. The UI, the fonts, the menus, the quality of life options in this game are really good. You're able to have your Pokemon box anywhere that you want. It's very easy to pull up your Rotom phone and easily get into the Pokemon box, swap over a Pokemon, bring another Pokemon out, completely switch up what you want to do, heal your Pokemon, throw your Pokemon out, have them auto battle, easily get experience, have them collect items for you so you can go collect things. Like, the way that they've done this with the presentation and with the UI, the fonts, all of that is really, really well done. They really put a lot of time into that, and the Pokemon themselves, once again, how they look and how they battle, all of that is done extremely well. It's just the performance and the graphics overall with the world that's severely lacking, because they really focus their time, I think, on the Pokemon designs and also on the features in the game. The features, the UIs, the fonts, all of that type of stuff. That's where they spent a lot of their time, and kind of spent the rest of it just trying to say, okay, we're gonna try to put together this huge open world game and kind of piece it together by glue in some respects. But once again, I was playing it and it does hold up, but it could be a lot better. Now, I want to talk about the main thing here that everyone wants to talk about, and the gameplay. I mean, how is this game? Like, is the game fun? And I think this is why it's somewhat of a travesty that this game doesn't perform better, because the game is fun. Now, let me tell you guys something. I was streaming the game the other night, and when I was playing, everyone was just roasting the graphics for like 30 to 40 minutes straight. Everyone was backseat developer. Everyone was sitting there and saying Game Freak doesn't know what they're doing. Everyone was sitting there and saying that the Pokemon Company and Game Freak need help from Monolith Soft. Some people were saying that we need the next hardware. Some people were saying it's not that. Everyone turned it into backseat developer, and it was so interesting just to see all the different comments that people were coming from. Every single Twitter argument that you can think of, every single argument that you've seen from some content creators, everything was said all in that 30 to 45 minutes, and that's fine. I mean, people are gonna have their opinions. I just have my own personal opinions, and that's Game Freak doesn't have enough time to make these games. They have to constantly be on the move to put in features and Pokemon and update, and they don't get enough time, and they don't have the experience that other developers have had with HD development and even open world games. This is the first one that they've ever had, so I think that's why this game suffered, but that's neither here or there, because when it comes to the gameplay and what they did there, it's interesting, because after that first 30 to 45 minutes, everyone was just roasting the graphics. All of a sudden, we got into the content. We got into the open-ended areas. We got into the collecting. We got into some of the battles. We got into some of the new Pokemon. We got into all these different things, the auto battling, the features, and everyone's like, oh snap, this is actually kind of cool. We got like the legendary Pokemon. We're seeing some of the cutscenes. We're seeing some of the different things, and yeah, it's a little bit odd here and there. It wasn't always perfect, but it was fun. Like, I was having legitimate fun. The structure in this game is open-ended like Pokemon Legends Arceus, so you're gonna get that same feel like you were playing, but without all the restrictions. I gotta go back to the center town, it's loading, it's doing all these different things. You can just freely explore anywhere. It feels way more free-flowing, like you would want for a game. Now, one of the things that was heavily criticized from some people out there is the fact that it doesn't have the Pokemon Legends battle system to where you can just throw a Pokeball and catch, but this game isn't built like Pokemon Legends. It's not built to where you have to catch the same Pokemon a million times to fill out some type of Pokedex and do that. Now, some people like that, and that was okay with Pokemon Legends. I just like more of the mechanic of catching the Pokemon, but in this one, you can still sneak up behind the Pokemon, you can still throw the ball and catch them off guard and be a little bit at an advantage, and then you can capture them that way. So it's actually not as bad going back to that style as I thought that it would be, because the game gives you more freedom just in general, and you get that Pokemon, the legendary Pokemon, from the very beginning of the game. Like, they introduce everything very early. So very early, you have the Pokemon Center, you have the online multiplayer, and you go through one thing, you go to school, and then you get your legendary Pokemon. So you can fly, and you can ride, and you can do all sorts of different type of stuff. So the structure of this game is the best that it's ever been. in, and the gameplay really benefits from that. And you end up having fun. You just end up having fun, especially when you're in the battles. It's a turn-based RPG, so it's not like it's an action RPG where the environment and the frame rate is like the biggest thing. Although in the battles, it seems just fine. The animation seems smooth enough. They've got a lot of new animations in there, and the Pokemon models do look good. So overall, I was thinking, okay, this is fun. Once you start battling and getting into everything is snappy and quick. The menus feel responsive. When Pokemon learn moves, you can easily swap them out. You don't have to worry about anything else when it comes to if you want to get an old move, you can learn it right then and there. Everything's right there in the palm of your hand, so it makes playing the game more fun than ever. And I really appreciate that about this game over the past games. There's been some really weird things that they do in past Pokemon games that make it not as fun to me, but this one just has everything kind of lined up. So kind of in conclusion with all of this, it's a great game that's buried underneath a bunch of technical issues and a bunch of issues and problems with that. If they can patch those issues, if they can fix that, which I don't think they can fix the graphics, that's already said and done. Like, the graphics aren't going to be all of a sudden fixed up to where it looks like Xenoblade Chronicles as good as that, or like Breath of the Wild. That's not happening. But if they can actually just kind of smooth things out a bit and fix up some of the rough edges of how things look, and also add performance patch, right, to where it runs smoother in the open world and there isn't some of those hitches and those problems, there's already a day one patch that helps out a little bit. But if they can continue with this game, and they have the team to do so, they have obviously the time and team and money to do so now that the game is out, this could be a lot better game down the road. It just sucks that it wasn't like that at the beginning, because there is a good game here, almost like the whole Cyberpunk thing, right? Cyberpunk, very good game if you get past a lot of the issues, the depth, and some of the stuff that you can do in that game. I think that this is the same thing here with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. There is a good game buried underneath there, but there is a myriad of technical issues that definitely hold it back here and there. But once you get into the core gameplay and how the game works and how it flows and the quality of life options, everything is actually really good and flows really well and is a ton of fun. And I think that this game, for me at least, this is going to be an incredible experience to play portable when you're just trying to capture new Pokemon, just trying to go through the story, or even do some raid battles and like you're watching the NFL, or if you're watching football or soccer, the world's game soccer, right? Or if you're watching whatever and you just want to play some Pokemon on handheld, I think it's going to be fantastic for that. I think that Pokemon fits that portable experience, and I've played it a bit portable. I haven't played it a lot, but I've played it a bit, not enough. So I am going to play it more, and I'll have an update for you guys after I put a number of hours in, up until my review of the game, or if I do like a big 100+ hours or 200 hours or whatever I do for that. But overall, I'm impressed with a lot of things, but there needs to be work when it comes down to it. But I'm going to absolutely keep playing, because this is the most fun that I've had with the Pokemon game since Pokemon Legends Arceus. You know, that just came out, but those have been like the two best ones for me. Pokemon Legends Arceus was fantastic. I wasn't as big of a fan of Pokemon Sword and Shield. I thought it was okay, but I wasn't as big of a fan. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, I loved the originals back in the day, but these ones I was like, it's okay, it's not bad, but it's a little bit like lacking when it comes to like the pizzazz, or when it comes to the style or the speed. But Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, in my opinion, does a lot of things way better that immediately makes it better than Pokemon Sword and Shield, in my opinion, at least when it comes to quality of life, and also when it comes to the playability and just the structure of the game. And even with Pokemon Legends Arceus, there's a lot of things better than that game. So I want to see them continue. And if they had DLC like Crown Tundra, right, how they fixed a number of other things, I think that even an expansion with Crown Tundra could add and fix a number of things too, and make the game even better, or if there's any ideas they can add in. So there's potential here, but there's also issues as well. So I'm hoping that Game Freak, the Pokemon company, you guys get on that. Get that patch ready to go. Maybe in the next week or so we get something to help out here, because I know I'm going to keep playing this game. But once again, it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate that it didn't have the performance smoothed out or anything like that. Now, I do want to talk about this just briefly, because I know there's a lot of people that want to discuss this if you've made it to this part of the video, and that is if the Nintendo Switch is somewhat holding things back or is the problem. And I think that while it's a little bit of that, it's mainly Game Freak doesn't have enough time, which I mentioned a little bit earlier. Game Freak doesn't have enough time to create this type of open world game. Games like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, or Xenoblade Chronicles X, or Xenoblade Chronicles 3, or these big open world games, those take multiple years to develop. develop. You're going to have issues if you're rushed or if you don't have enough time, and I think that's what happened here with this one. So I don't think it's the Nintendo Switch, considering what else we've seen on the system, Nier Automata and other games that run better and look way better, Witcher 3, stuff like that, right? So I don't think that's it, but I feel that there is time down at this point. So we'll see what happens in the future. But overall, I'm excited. I'm excited for the future of Pokemon, but I think that they definitely need to work on a number of things. But what are your thoughts on this, guys, when it comes to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet? Are you enjoying the game? Are you not enjoying it? Are the tech issues too much? Is it not really bothering you? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click the notification bell, and we will see you for the next video. Peace.